Hello and welcome to this week's Webinar Wednesday. I am with Virtue Network Engineer Alex Bowes, and we this week are going to be discussing what is Wonde. So without further ado, I'm going to send Alex live so you can see him. Hi Alex.
Hello, are you okay?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. So we are here to talk about Wonde. What is Wonde? Well, my name's Alex. I am a network engineer for Virtue Technologies. And over the last year, I've been using Wonde quite a lot because we are part we're a Google partner. So we've been setting up a lot of Google platforms. So with this, we've been setting up, I'm using Wonde to help set up their platforms, the school platforms. So what is Wonde? Well, Wonde is basically a management information system, or an MIS connector. So if you have SIMs or some sort of management system of your pupils and staff in school, it's basically one large database, and it's managed by the school, and they keep it in order. When for instance, year 6s or year 11s leave the school and they leave the MIS system, they get removed from it. So this also has a knock-on effect on, for instance, systems that you set up with Wonde. So basically what happens is the Wonde MIS connector gets installed on the local server where the MIS is connected to. So for instance, SIMS, I'm going to use SIMS as an example. So there's a local SIMS server, and the Wonde software gets installed onto that server. During the installation, it gets connected into SIMS, and now Wonde has connectivity to all that data, and it goes up to the cloud. Now, for instance, in my point of view, I would use Wonde Google Sync. Now, Wonde Google Sync would, once you set it up, can create all the user accounts on the Google platform. So all teacher accounts, all pupil accounts. You could be talking easily 2, 3, 4, maybe 700 accounts that need to be set up on that Google platform so that a user can then log on to the Google platform. Wonde would do this for you. Once it's all set up, every night it synchronizes. It drags the information from SIMS. It would get the first name, the last name of the person or the pupil, the year group, the year that they're in, and any other groups that they are in on the MIS system. This all gets put into the Google Sync so that, for instance, now a teacher can log in and groups have already been created in there. So their Google Classroom, they will already have classrooms relating to their groups on their SIM system already there with the kids pre-populated, so they don't have to introduce them into the system, which is great because basically the school can, once they've got their logon, can basically get straight into it and start using it straight away if they wanted to. And basically that's what the Wonde Google Sync app does for Google on the platform. Now, Wonde have other apps inside their probably like an app store, like what they use. So, for instance, I've seen Times Tables Rockstars. Again, same thing. They will create accounts on their system, and with the Wonde connector and the information it connects into with SIMS, it can drag that information and create all that information straight away, and then they can use that system. So it's pretty well managed. The other thing is, because it synchronizes every day, I'm not sure if it's a specific time, it could be at midnight, for instance, but it will remove people from the system as well. So, for instance, like I mentioned earlier, if a child comes into the school, a new child, into the middle of the year, overnight, the minute they've been put on SIMS, overnight, that account will be put in to, for instance, the Google platform, and they will have a user account with a password and in the right group the very next day. If you have a pupil that leaves, then SIMS will have removed the people in the school would have removed that pupil or staff member off SIMS. It synchronizes, notices the person's been removed, and it will also remove it from the app you're using, in this case, the Google G Sync. Very, very handy. It just means when it comes to manageability, it is so easy for you to just have it set up, and all you've got to do is just every so often make sure that the syncing is on, it's working, and as long as Sims or your MIS is up to date and looked after, then it makes your job as an IT technician and looking after the Google platform much easier. And that's pretty much what one can do for you. So yes, that's all I've got to say.
That's perfect. So we'll open it up to questions. I'm just going to send in a few that were sent in to our @marketing address. So before any of the webinar Wednesdays, you can send in any questions about each topic. So next week's topic, for example, is multi-factor authentication. And if you've got a burning desire to ask a question about that and you want it answered on next week's webinar, it'll be one of our other engineers with us. It'll be Pete Chalner, and you can email marketing@Virtue Technologies and he will be able to help with that. But it's still Alex in the spotlight at the minute. So what I am going to do is ask you some of our pre-event questions, Alex.
Okay.
So, and again, if anybody on the webinar would like to ask any questions as we're going along, just pop them into the question box and I'll be able to ask Alex for you. So,
right, so
one of our
question.
Yep.
I have a class set. Does using Wonde mean I can't put them into Google because it's controlled separately? No. Wonde will create all the groups for you from the MIS system, introduce them into the Google G Sync and into your Google platform, but it doesn't mean that you can't create your own groups. So you wanted to create a group, let's just say it's to do with something you're working on at the moment. World War II is just the first that comes to my head. An example of that, you can create a classroom on World War II, you bring in the children that you want, the pupils that you want into there, and away you go. That's it. You can create your own groups, you can remove your own groups. The Wonde connector is a one-way system, so it just goes from Sims to the application that you wanted to communicate with, and that's it. It doesn't go backwards, so you can still have full control of any groups that you want to create.
And would that include, Alex, for example, I know that some schools have a setup where they would put multiple students into, so if you've got like 3 classes in year 6, they would move them all around for maths so that there's like different ability levels are all grouped together.
Again, yes, you can do that. You would just create the separate groups and introduce the pupils that you wanted in there. And let's just say you've had that group going for a month or 2 and the abilities have changed, they've improved, and you want to move them, then you just move the children from the different groups. You can easily do that, and yeah, easily changed.
Perfect. And then another pre-event question. So how does Wonde comply with safeguarding and GDPR? And what I'm going to do actually is add in a link from Wonde's own website about that, because they've got a lot of information about their data security, but I don't know if you want to add to that as well, Alex.
Yeah, Wonde, I have briefly gone through their GDPR documentation, and it's very, very thorough, and it explains how they are, I'm trying to think of the word now, how they are a data handler as well, because they do connect into your Sims database, into your Sims or MIS system. So that's a lot of sensitive information, and it does show and tell you how they look after it, how they make sure that they do everything correctly. It's vital for them to get that right.
Okay, and the last of our pre-event questions is, we're looking to move to Google. How important would it be to use Wonde?
I would definitely recommend Wonde. It's the main reasons is it's less time to set it all up. So all you have to do is get Wonde installed on your MAS server. Wonde will do that for you. Once that's all done and dusted, you have an account that you can log into Wonde, and you can set up all the accounts and everything, and set up the synchronization. And then basically, if you've got, say, 500 accounts that you need to set up, that's pupils and staff, let's just say, it will do it within about 5 minutes. everything's been ported across. The groups have been ported across, and it's all using the groups that are in your MIS. So and in some schools, I've noticed they've got 40, 50, 80 groups. There's a lot of groups that they've got in there. You don't realize all the different groups as a person yourself, but it just gets all introduced, all created, and they get pre-populated with all the students and teachers who are in those groups. So that is so much time taken for setup, done in minutes. So I definitely recommend Wonde as an MIS connector, and also it keeps it up to date. As long as your SIMS or your MIS connector is up to date, there's not much for you to do on your platform or on the app that you've got it connected to. So it's brilliant, I think.
Well, that's perfect. Thank you very much, Alex. And we don't have any more questions at this time.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that we can wrap up there. So thank you very much. Very informative, very
Excellent.
quick whistle-stop tour of Wonde there for everybody. So thank you very much, Alex. Thanks to everybody who joined us live. Thank you as well if you're on YouTube watching us now. That's bizarre to think about, but good. And that was this week's Webinar Wednesday. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all again next week. Cheers.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.